Hi, today we're talking about ideas, how to have great ideas. Actually, everyone has ideas, good and bad, but I want to focus on how to have a good idea that could become a business. And I've got a kind of a formula that works for me. I hope it might work for you. It's easy to remember: what, who, why, how, and where. What's the problem? If there isn't a problem, if there isn't something going wrong, then what's the point of you doing anything new? If we do something new, it's because we want to make something better. And so if you have a problem, then there's a place to start. Who's affected? Who has this problem? Who talks about it? Who wakes up at night fretting about it? Who's affected? Why is the third one. Why would a person who's affected by this problem give money to a stranger? I mean, they might give money to you because they know you, but why would someone you've never met want to give you money? That's the secret of making a business. But then how? How could I actually make the problem go away? Because if a stranger wants to give a stranger, that's me, money for solving the problem, making it go away, I'd better have a method. How will I make that problem go away? And finally, where? Where can I find those people who have that problem so that I could talk to them about the idea I have to make the problem go away, and they might give me money? If I can do all of those things, I might have a business. There's a promise, don't forget. I'm going to give you the best tool for creating a new business. That comes right at the end. But let's work this through. Let's start with the what. People forget appointments. I know I do. I bet you do, at least sometimes. They might be meetings, they might be important events, they might be services and so on. People forget appointments all the time, and it causes all kinds of problems. Certainly people talk about that. If they've forgotten an appointment or someone's forgotten to come to an appointment with them, it can be annoying. Who experiences those problems? Well, I've got to be honest, my mum, potentially. Oops, sorry, mum. But I'm not sure I can make a business out of solving the problem for my mum that I forget to turn up sometimes. Everyone has this problem, right? If you ask people, do you ever forget anything? Have you ever been affected? Everyone. The only problem is everyone's just too big. I need to start smaller. Okay, what about doctors? Doctors definitely have that problem. I've sat in a waiting room and you hear someone's called and they're not there. Or else they're not called and there's confusion or everything's running late. I mean, the problem of missed appointments in doctor's surgeries is definitely real. I'm sure it is. So why would a doctor or someone who runs a doctor's practice give a stranger money if they had the answer to this problem? And to be honest, if we're talking about NHS doctors, I'm not sure what the answer is. I don't really know how doctors are paid. I don't really know what a missed appointment costs. And I'm sure there are answers to that question, but that sounds kind of difficult. Perhaps I should try a different who. Near to doctors, well, what about dentists? Private dentists, I think they're in control pretty much of everything they do. I think they charge money for treating patients, and they can do that as they like. They presumably are under some codes of practice about how that money moves around, but they definitely have the same problem as doctors, and I just have a suspicion I could talk to them more easily. So let's try it with dentists. Why would a dentist give a stranger money for solving the problem? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. If a patient misses an appointment, then the dentist might lose income because either they get no money for that time and there isn't anybody waiting for that appointment instead, so that's lost income. Or maybe they say, hey, I'm going to charge you for the appointment you missed. So I keep the income, but I've just annoyed the customer, so I might lose the customer. It feels to me like if I can give a better solution to a dentist, they might be willing to give me money. Even if they don't really know me, if they can think of a reason for trusting me, if I've got a good solution, then why wouldn't they give me money if it makes their life better, if it makes the problem go away? Okay, so how? We better get down to what a solution might look like. And let's be honest, dentists already have a bunch of solutions. Let's start with the hows that are out there right now. There are those reminder cards. People write something on a bit of paper, they say, please, 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 stick this on your fridge, put it on your notice board, do something with it. So printed reminder cards. You might get a chaser call. The receptionist calls you and says, oh, hello, Mr. Parsons. Have you remembered that you've got an appointment tomorrow at 3? And there's at least the opportunity just to check what's going on. There are chaser texts. I've noticed that increasingly. I'll get a text maybe a couple of days before an appointment, and then I'll get a text a day before the appointment. I might get a text on the day, and that definitely reminds me. But also, if something else has cropped up and I needed to cancel the appointment, then I'm probably going to respond to seeing that text by ringing up, and then that saves the lost appointment. So that seems like not a bad solution. And there are letters. Not everybody has text, not everybody answers the phone. You might get an appointment confirmation through the post, especially if it's a big important procedure. So there's a lot of stuff that's out there already. But do you know what I'd like? So I'm a customer, I'm a patient of dentists sometimes, and I'd really like them to get straight into my calendar. Because if something's on my calendar, it's on my phone, it's on my desktop, it's everywhere. I'm going to see that appointment. I'm going to spot the clashes, and that's all going to manage itself really well. If I create a clashing appointment, then potentially that makes me take action, and calendar systems are great. Not everybody has a calendar. So maybe mobile phones through calling or text reminders or just all those other solutions we've talked about. Maybe those are fine. So it might just be that I could say, here's the solution to lost appointments for everyone with a mobile phone and a calendar who uses Google for calendars or Apple for calendars or so on. That feels to me like I haven't really taken the problem away, because how are they going to manage that? So I think if I'm going to take on that problem, reducing missed appointments, I'm going to take on the whole lot of it. So in that case, let's have a great solution that works really well for people who love calendars and work by them, that is electronic calendars, but let's also understand, keep records. This particular patient likes to do things through their electronic calendar. This other one likes a call. This other one likes a text. This other one needs letters, and so on. If I can make all of the right things happen and leave the dentist practice in control of that, reduce the appointments, give lots of information, make customers feel happier because they're being talked to in the way they like to be talked to, a way that fits in with them, why wouldn't someone give me money? Fantastic. This is feeling like a brilliant idea. Where can I go to find the people who have the problem? Well, I think finding people who have the problem as a patient of a dentist, and they sometimes miss the appointment, they have to change it, and that's a nuisance. I think I can find those people all over the place. To be honest, anywhere that I go and talk to people, a good proportion of those people will know about that problem. What about dentists, though? Well, I guess I can go online and search for dentists. I think I'm going to find them. I think there's a good chance Google will do the work for me. There are trade associations or professional medical and dental associations that would help me identify who's practicing, who's licensed to practice. That has to exist for kind of compliance reasons, but it makes my life easier if I want to find out, where are these people? Do they cluster and congregate? Where are they in the world? How might I link up with them? Let's guess there are newsletters that go out to them. Let's guess there might be forums where people who are dentists or people who are dental practice managers go and hang out. Okay, so that's a list of possibilities. I don't really know which of those might work, but I could do a bunch of work and find out. That feels like an idea. It feels like I've spotted a problem, I've thought about a solution that might work for a particular group of people who have that problem, and I've thought about ways that I might reach those exact people. Here's the beauty of this framework, of this method. If I want to change something, if something here I'm just thinking, well, there's a lot of work in that, or I don't really know the answers, or maybe that's difficult or expensive, I can change anything I like right now, but I've already got a structure to do that in. So why don't I think about changing the who? Who else is affected by missed appointments? Who else wakes up at night going, oh no, I just had another of those days where 3 people cancelled, didn't turn up, and I lost income. What's going to happen tomorrow? So let's think about other who's, or perhaps charity fundraisers. That could be really important. What about dog groomers? What about mobile hairdressers? What about driving instructors? I think each of those people will report the same kind of story. And here's the interesting thing, how I reach out to those people, what kind of solution might work for them best, all of those other little areas of my chart, they would change. In fact, they ought to change. Here's the thing, we've all grown up in a world where one size didn't exactly fit all, but we were limited on choice, and pretty much everything had to be for pretty much everyone. Fine, we get 100 choices of breakfast cereal, but not the one just for me, certainly not the one just for dentists with the problem of missed appointments. But today, it's really easy to go and create new products and services for a very tiny group of people and reach out to them and offer them those products and services. That's really true. So starting with a small group of people who really care about a problem, that you could really get to know those people, how they talk about the problem, what actually would it take to persuade them that the solution you have is worth them trying or giving you money for. Everything, if you go to a small stage, becomes possible. And it's also cheap to change. At the moment, all we're doing is changing words on paper, and we can do that as much as we like. But even when we get started, If we start to build something out, if we start to describe the world we're trying to create, we can be really, really tactical about that. We can go, okay, actually I'm going to make a website that people can look at rather than a huge investment in building some software or making a tangible product or inventing a new foodstuff or whatever it might be. Save the expensive bit for later. Do the hard part now. The hard work is all about talking to people and discovering how they might want to give me money for solving a problem that's real to them and that they care about enough. And here's the extra magic of this approach, of this framework. You don't have to start with the what. The what's the problem. Problems are great. If you really understand a problem, it's a great place to start. But actually, most people start with the how. And I'm going to say that's a bad idea. We all do that all the time, and that's because everyone I've met, I think, is really good at solving problems. If it's the right kind of area that they're interested in, they have some knowledge of, they encounter problems, and they think through the how. But the problem is the how for them, the how for somebody else? And actually, with our ideas, our pet ideas, we tend to think of ourselves as the customer, and that can just lead us astray. So actually, don't start with the how. We had 4 W's: what, who, why, and where. And each of those is a great starting point too. Forget problems. We don't have to start with the what. We could start with the who. Because let's suppose you know a lot of cyclists. Then that means you could talk to a lot of cyclists and find out what are the problems they moan about. What is it they spend money on? What do they spend a little bit of money on and they really grudge it? What do they spend lots of money on and show off about it? Because if you get to know cyclists and you think about problems for cyclists and how you might solve problems for cyclists, and if you chose problems that they already have shown similar things they pay money for and they talk about it afterwards, they're really happy, that could be a great place to be. We could start with the why. Why would somebody give a stranger money? That seems like a strange place to start, but if you spin it around, well, what are the places that you notice that something is being done that's wasteful? For example, unsold food being thrown away, empty seats right next to you, and you know that someone bought a ticket for that seat. If you start with a why, something where you can see money's being wasted, time's being wasted, then you can track back up from there to what went wrong, what was the problem, and what might the solution be. That's a really fertile starting point, in fact. You can also start with the where. Suppose you're an influential member of a Facebook group, or let's suppose the accountants in town all come to your restaurant once a month to get together, or maybe you walk your dog every day and you pass hundreds of homes in a particular area and you start to notice most of these homes seem to have cars outside of. There's a lot of family play equipment there. You might be starting to spot an opportunity. I'm going to go through my little framework again, and I'm going to put some extra words there just to make it memorable for you, I hope. So there was the what. What's the problem? What isn't working like it should? Let's call that a problem. There's the who. Who's affected by this problem that you have, or who is it that you have access to who might have problems? There's the who. Who's affected by this problem? Or it could be, who do I have access to? Who do I know? Who is the audience? Where can I find these people? That could be the channel. Why? Why would someone who discovered they had a problem, who found a solution being offered by a stranger, why would they give money to that stranger? And how? How can I make the problem vanish? That's the solution. What, who, where, why, how. Doesn't matter what order it is, except I'm going to say to you, we all want to start with the how, but if I were you, I'd start anywhere but the how. Finally, at last, I'm going to give you the secret of innovation, a tool that's really going to help you. I bet you've hardly even noticed it. Those little post-it notes, they're fantastic. Now, I have to say, in the interest of balance, other brands are available. I don't think they're as good. I use post-its. My experience, don't mind what you use as your sticky note of choice. For me, it's post-its. If you're armed with a pack of post-it notes, you can change the world. I hope that you're going to not think about this, not write it down, not make notes. Try it out. Right now. I mean, honestly, in 5 minutes, with a pack of post-it notes, you could map out an idea that might become a business. And if you do it right and keep on throwing away the bits that don't work and replace them with something else, you really could progress it. It's not going to take you long, and it's great fun. but you're never going to know till you try it.